Welcome to Getting Saucy with Chef Lynn. Deviled eggs, but not just any deviled eggs. My smoked salmon deviled eggs with capers and dill. Let's get saucy. For this recipe, you'll need 12 eggs, 4 ounces of hot smoked salmon, mayonnaise, Dijon mustard, fresh dill, capers, salt, and black pepper. First we'll cook our eggs, then mix the filling, fill, and garnish them. I'll be using an egg cooker, but you can always just boil your eggs. I'll also be using a food mill for the yolks and a piping bag to fill them, but mashing the yolks with a fork and spooning the filling in obviously works as well. This is my egg cooker. It's great. It only cooks 6 eggs at a time, but that's okay. I'll just have to do 2 batches. So what you do is take your egg, you poke a little hole in the bottom, and then your egg goes in with the hole up. So we'll do 6 of those. So there's my first 6 eggs, and we will get those cooking. Our first 6 eggs are cooking, and while that is going for a few minutes, we'll get started on prepping our other ingredients, our dill and capers and salmon. So hot smoked salmon is the firmer smoked salmon. You could use the sliced like cold smoked salmon that's a little softer, but this I like better because you can flake it up and get it as small as you want really and mix it well with your deviled egg filling. So we're going to go ahead and open this up and get it all flaked up. And so we've got the skin on here. You can see this skin on here, right? So we're just going to peel that off. Take some of this silver skin that's underneath the skin, a little bit of that off too. And then I'm just going to break this up into little bits and kind of shred it so that we can put it in our egg mixture, and it'll go all throughout those yolks and flavor everything really nicely. Give that a little taste. So good. All right, and a little bowl on the side over here. And of course, I've made a mess of my board. Wash my hands really quickly. I'll give this a quick wipe. And we'll go to our dill and capers. So again, let's save these 2 sprigs of dill. They've got some nice frilly bits. So they will make beautiful garnishes. And the rest of this dill, I'm just going to pull off the larger parts of the stem. So I'm going to keep some of the stems because they have a lot of flavor and they're great, but the large, thicker stem, I'm going to get rid of that. And then we'll just chop this up nice and fine, and it will give such amazing flavor to these deviled eggs. Gather it up, run your knife through it, get it nice and fine. Okay, and then just carefully collect it up. Now, be careful if you do this with your knife like I just did, because you don't want to cut yourself, obviously. But I'm a professional. Okay, and then we've got our capers here. These are kind of small capers, so we won't need to chop them too much, but I still want to get a little finer with them so that they really flow throughout our deviled eggs and give us flavor in every bite. So like I said, we want about a generous tablespoon of our capers. That's maybe more like 2 or a tablespoon and a half for sure. But I don't think you can really have too many, so give them a little bit of a rough chop. Like I said, these are kind of small, so they don't need to be chopped up too fine. But if you have larger capers, you can find some much larger ones. Then you'd want to run through them a little bit more than what I am here. All right, that looks good to me. Okay, so our first batch of eggs are done, as you can hear. So we're going to take those out, and I'm going to put them in this bowl of ice water, and then I will start my second batch. Again, I just really like this egg cooker because it's quick, it doesn't use too much water, and they come out perfectly every time. My second batch of eggs is finished, and I've put them in the ice water. Now I'll just continue peeling them and get them all cut and ready to fill. All of our eggs are peeled, and now we're just going to, like I said, cut them in half. Look how beautiful that is. You see that? Perfectly cooked yellow, no green ring from overcooking. Pop this out, and like I said, going into a food mill for me and right into my serving platter. Now I'm taking these with me to a barbecue, so that's why I'm putting them in this cute little takeout or to-go container that is fit for eggs. You can also use this to store eggs in your refrigerator, whole eggs. But I'm just going to continue prepping these, and then we'll make the filling. If you want to make a bit of a nicer presentation for a party, you can always do your eggs slightly differently. So you can, if you kind of feel around, you'll feel which end of the yolk is closer to. I'm going to take, it's closer to the smaller end on this one, so I'm going to take a little bit off of this end to give it a flat base so it can stand up straight like this. And then on this end where the yolk is closer, I'm going to cut into the yolk, and I'm just going to pop it out the whole yolk like that. So I have a nice cup that I can then fill with my filling. Makes a great presentation for a party. This is actually how I used to serve them at a restaurant. It's delicious. I mean, it's all the same, but it just looks a lot prettier. And then these extra bits of white that I cut off of that other egg, they can just go in here too. Nobody will ever notice that there's egg white in there, especially since I'm using this food mill. It'll just bump up the filling a little bit. Now, because we're adding other things, obviously there's going to be extra filling, but I'll tell you later, don't get rid of that extra filling. It's delicious on toast, on an everything bagel, whatever, you know, it's fantastic. I am going to set my cutting board off to the side over here, and we will grind down our eggs in the food mill. You can see, makes quick work of these egg yolks. Now again, you know, you can definitely do this with just a fork and mash it, but this is going to make them super light and fluffy, really fine, and just make for a little bit of a lighter texture on the filling. Extra creamy, if you will. Just keep going, reverse your food mill to clean it a little bit. And look at that, you can see that just flowing out of there. Light little ribbons of beautiful yellow egg yolk. And I should have set myself up with a spatula, but I didn't, so let me grab that. I'm gonna scrape this down, move everything around in here, these bits off the edge, just to get them in. I don't want to waste any of that. Get as much of it through there as possible. Scrape it in towards the center of our blade there. Scrape everything off the bottom here. And one more go around, we should be good. So in here, like I said, we're going to go about a half a cup of mayonnaise. Dijon mustard. Now, you can use any Dijon mustard. This is my favorite brand. It's got a good amount of heat to it. Nice tangy mustardy flavor, of course, but use whatever you like. I'm going to go with a good 2 tablespoons in there. Maybe a little more for fun. A good pinch of salt. Some cracked pepper. And then, of course, our capers, our dill, and our smoked salmon. Now, I'm just going to fold that together until it's smooth, creamy. And that looks amazing. So it's not just your typical deviled egg, right? You can see the capers in there, the green and the green from the dill, the little pink flecks of salmon. I might add just a touch more mayonnaise to this just to loosen it up a little bit more. So I'm going to add a couple more tablespoons of mayonnaise there. Just make it a little bit lighter and easier to pipe and just, well, you know, more mayonnaise. What's wrong with more mayonnaise? All right, I'm going to give this a quick taste and make sure the salt and pepper are good. Oh, that is excellent. Nice and smoky. Does a little more pepper. I don't think it needs any more salt because of those capers and, you know, the smoked salmon, smoky and a little salty as well. So, touch more pepper. We will mix this up. And I also forgot to grab my piping bag. Now, obviously, like I said, you could just use a couple of spoons to fill your eggs with. That would be just fine. I like the piping bag. You can make it look really pretty. You could put a tip on this if you wanted to. You could put a star tip on this, or I'm just going to cut it and use the bag itself. We're going to make sure we get all of this delicious filling out of the bowl here. Into our bag. We will, oh, we didn't get it all, but that's okay. Smooth it down into the bag. Try to get those air pockets out of there if there are any. And then bring this back over. And I'll cut the tip off of my bag. And we'll fill these. So just a nice amount of filling in each one. And then that extra filling, keep that, like I said, toast in the morning, an everything bagel especially, delicious. So we got this beautiful dill here. We're gonna take a nice sprig off and stick it on the top of each one. Just remind everybody what's in there. Get that extra little fresh dill when you eat it. And there we go. My smoked salmon, deviled eggs. Absolutely delicious. Now I'm going to obviously go in for this and give it a try. Mm. That is so delicious. Creamy, smooth filling, those flakes of smoky salmon in there, a little bite from the caper, fresh dill. Absolutely delicious. Give these a try. You'll love them. I can guarantee if you put these on your holiday table or bring them to a potluck, they won't last long. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I hope to see you next time.